Ronald McHugh, MC, capital H-U-G-H.
Great. And before we get into the interview questions, I have just a few preliminary questions for you. Can you tell me what dates you worked at RCA?
I started on June 12th, 1976. Presently, I'm still there as a different company. It was 5 different companies over the years, and up until it's been 33 years now.
Okay. So. And what was your job title?
Started out in a maintenance gang down in the powerhouse as millwright rigger, first class. Now we do all-around maintenance. Take care of the plant, support the plant, moving heavy machinery, running backhoes, heavy equipment, stuff like that.
Okay. Can you tell us how you got your job at RCA?
Excuse me. My father, Jim McHugh, was a manager there with 38 years, and he got me in, which is pretty much how most people got in. They had family or friends that got them in their foot in the door, so to speak. And so yeah, he got my brothers in and my aunts, and it was like a family affair. So.
How many of your family were working at RCA?
Now there's 3. Back then there was probably 10. So some other families might have had 30 or 40, but we had 10. So it was good.
Can you describe what you did at RCA?
Yes, we had huge buildings filled with machinery, manufacturing equipment. It was 1.6 million square feet of buildings. So we had a large group of guys, carpenters, millwrights, riggers, electricians to support the plant. We provided steam for the whole plant for heat and other uses, and so everything was done around the clock. Basically, we had to support the plant. We moved heavy machinery, ran heavy equipment, backhoes, forklifts, bobcats. Installed air conditioners, cranes, put stuff on the roof. Pretty much everything.
What kind of wages and benefits did you earn at RCA?
Originally, I started in Deptford, and I was washing radio tubes for $6 an hour. And so up until the present, went from 6 to say 28, something like that. So big difference.
Good benefits?
The benefits were a little bit better back then, to be honest with you. You had no co-pays, you had no deductibles. Even the insurance company was better. So just the wages got better, but the benefits, don't get me wrong, the 401k and everything's great, but just the cost of everything today, everyone has to share the benefits costs. That's where we're at with that.
What were your relationships with your coworkers like?
Very good. I'm actually a vice president of a union, so I have to deal with a lot of people. I've been a union rep for 28 out of 33 years, and I'm surprised I don't have more gray hair, but it was very good. It was like one big family. Like I said, a lot of people's close family worked there. But once I went to Camden, I couldn't wait to get up to come in. It was just that much fun. Because you had, at one point you had 10,000 people working there. And when I was there, probably about 6. So you just you knew people by faces, not so much by names, but faces. And but it was just a great place to work.
How did you get involved in the union?
I was asked. I guess one of the reasons because I got along with everybody and I knew everybody. And excuse me, I was asked to run. I guess back in the late '70s, and been doing it ever since.
Were there a variety of ethnic groups when you worked at RCA?
Sure. Basically, it was African American, the Spanish, and Now you're getting a little bit more Asian and whatnot in there, but yeah, it was a very, very diverse group.
What were your working conditions like?
A little crazy. Some of our jobs we had underground tunnels, and they went from City Hall all the way down to the river, and they would have asbestos in them, rats, cockroaches, you know. It was a little bit better when I worked there, but it was rough for a while there. In the winter, you'd have to go down and service something would be leaking, or a steam main would break. In the winter, so much more in the summer as far as the servicing went, replacing pipes and whatnot. And the main thing was the amount of asbestos and you know, some of the animals that lived down there. But it was, to me, it was great. I mean, very interesting because it was the original. A lot of the original locations where they would store Victrolas and some of the early wind-up phonographs, and you know, they had like an overflow, so they would put them down in the tunnels or in the basement. And just really, really interesting. And it was 100 years old, you know. So.
What shift did you work?
99.9% of the time first shift. So I had a couple of second shift runs, but it wasn't my cup of tea. So. No.
What was one of your most memorable experiences working at RCA?
Well, there's a few of them, but the one, they had a leak out in the parking lot, and our job was to dig it up with a backhoe and repair it. Well, the pipes were so old that they weren't on any map, and they were old pipes that fed the the train station that was there. So we had to like dig them up and figure out what was leaking. And it was a 1-inch service, they called, for like going to your house out of the main. Well, a geyser of water shot up about, I don't know, 7,500 feet in the air. So we had to open all the fire hydrants to lower the pressure, because Campbell Soup was making soup at the time. We couldn't shut the water off. And the city came out to shut them off with the T's, but they couldn't get the handles on them because the streets, being as old as they were, shifted, so you couldn't get it on the street. So this went on for like a whole day. I mean, you had this water pouring all over the place, and you know, they were going to shut Campbell Soup down. Our company was shut down, part of it. So just moving a lot of the heavy equipment we had. Some of the machinery was like 25 tons. You know, it just hundreds and hundreds of machines in the machine shop. It's just enormous. And it was all on the 6th floor. You would think that would be on the 1st floor. No, this was at the top, and you know, by the time they got down to the bottom, the product was finished and went out the door. So technically the right way of doing it, but they don't build buildings like that anymore. So.
Can you describe an average work day?
You go down to the powerhouse, you hit in, have your coffee in the morning, and then you get your job work order for the day. Grab your tools. I would sling my box over my shoulder. Now I put it on wheels. I'm not as young as I used to be, but and we would go to the particular job, do our job, sign off on the work order, and unless it was a construction job, and you would, you know, report there every day, and you know, until the job was finished.